Good afternoon, Professor. Thank you for your time. As we know, you have the international negotiation background. So can we know that how do you define international negotiation?
I think international negotiation is, first of all, having good negotiation skills, so basic negotiation skills, including planning, negotiation, how to deal with some of the techniques and tactics that you use with someone from your own culture, and then applying those on an international scale, because not everything works in every culture.
Okay.
And what kind of negotiation have you experienced?
Well, I think we negotiate in all aspects of our lives actually. I think any time that you have a discussion where you're trying to get something or someone to agree to something that you're doing, you're in a negotiation situation. So I take a pretty large view of negotiation. This can be getting you better marks in school, buying a house, buying a car, getting your girlfriend to go to the movie instead of eating sushi.
Okay.
Also including business negotiations, sales, etc.
Okay. And what makes a successful or failure negotiation?
A successful negotiation, I think the key element is preparation.
Preparation?
Yeah, I think that too many times we go into negotiations and we don't know what we're expecting from the negotiation.
Okay.
We haven't done our homework, and some people are naturally good at chatting and talking and convincing other people, but preparation, in my experience, always beats natural talent all the time.
Okay.
And we want to know also if have you encountered any particular challenge in negotiation situation?
Well, I was thinking about this as you asked me before, and I thought of one challenging negotiation that I had was trying to put together quite a complex program with one of our partners, in which I was negotiating first of all with the person who I eventually found out didn't make the decisions, which is a very bad negotiation technique to begin with. So I was negotiating with her, she's an American, and then eventually her boss, who's an Indian American, got involved, and it became very challenging because the way that I was negotiating with very open idea, put your cards, say, okay, let's see if we can get a mutually beneficial agreement here. And so I had revealed a lot of my stance because I was expecting trust on her side, and I was expecting reciprocation. That her boss became involved, and because of his view of hierarchy, he didn't enjoy negotiating with me because he thought I wasn't on a high enough level, and so it became very confusing afterwards.
Also, the culture differences make the negotiation more difficulty. And have you met, like in this case, is there any other main difficulties?
I think that it was the main difficulties in this case were how to deal, with the mixed culture, and also I didn't, because the guy I was dealing with, the person I was dealing with, I never really knew which way he was going to. He was very unpredictable, and I think there was a real hierarchy problem in the negotiation.
And generally, how did you deal with this kind of problems and difficulties?
Well, it took a lot of backtracking on my part. I had to take a lot of abuse and just accept that I accept the abuse and not get angry, be very patient. And eventually how we dealt with the problem was that I would start just writing. I still continued the negotiation, but I would get my boss to send the emails.
Okay.
And eventually, and as soon as they came from my boss, everything was great.
Okay.
But it was still me writing everything, still me doing everything, and then I would say, okay, can you call him and say this? And my boss would call and he'd say, I don't even know what's going on, but he would just call and say X, Y, Z, and the negotiation went smoothly after that. But everything I said, because I was lower down on the totem pole, was stupid.
So hierarchy for them is very important. After you know their culture, you find the solution to solve this problem. So maybe this is one of the key strategy in negotiation. What do you think the other key strategies in the international negotiation?
It's hard to say one key strategy. I think the key strategy is not to make assumptions or to acknowledge the assumptions that you're making. Because we all make assumptions every time we're dealing with different cultures. we assume that certain people, whether it be cultural or just personality, that they're going to react in a certain way, and they don't necessarily do so. You know, if we think, okay, all Canadian people are evil, every time you see a Canadian, you're going to say, that guy, he's trying to trick me. But if you're aware that you have this prejudice or this assumption, then you won't automatically make the mistake. You won't overreact in that case.
And could you give us some examples about different cultural behavior in multinational negotiation?
Well, there's lots of theories that have been formulated about multicultural negotiations, etc., etc. I think the biggest danger that we fall into in that situation is stereotyping.
Stereotyping.
Yeah, and as I said, that we need to be aware of our assumptions, because I think everyone stereotypes because we have to. That's a shortcut. It's a heuristic for ourselves in order to deal with different, just the wealth of information and stimuli coming at us. But I think that, I think obviously reading the theories, understanding the theories are good, but not saying every Chinese person is like this, every Moroccan is like this. Okay. But if you encounter some cultural friction, you can say maybe this is because of this tendency which has been seen in the literature. So that might I think that's the key strategy, is not to assume anyone is going to act in a certain way, but be well prepared, be well versed in the different theories, and then you're going to be in a better situation to be able to deal with any problems in negotiation.
Okay, so just learn the whole picture, but be dynamic. Depends on the specific case.
Yeah, don't make assumptions, and be aware of your own assumptions. Yeah, so don't assume people are going to act in a certain way. Be aware of the assumptions you have. Be prepared to be flexible in case the person doesn't meet with your assumptions, and also do your homework. Do your homework.
Yeah, very important.
In terms of the theory and the preparation for the negotiation.
And as I remember, you were teaching Art of War in the past, so you must know lots of historical people. And so, in your heart, who is the best negotiator in the history?
The best negotiator in history.
For you, who is the hero, negotiating hero?
I mean, it really depends on what sort of context you're talking about. I would say someone, I don't know, like Gandhi is a fantastic. He's a fantastic negotiator. Maybe you don't really look at that as a negotiation, but obviously being able to use your resources at hand, formulate it in a way that's going to be persuasive, balance of power, etc. I'd say, or maybe Otto von Bismarck. These are huge negotiators. We're talking nations.
Yes.
On that level. So.
Yeah. And at the end, we want to know how Mr. Julien Brouwers see the future of international negotiation.
The future of international negotiation.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're in a very interesting time, because people are much more mobile than they ever have been before. Information technology allows people to exchange ideas. So it's not that we're not becoming globalized, we're actually becoming, there's more extremes in ideologies now, but we all have a lot more information about each other. So I think the future of international negotiation is, I hope, that people will become aware of some of these things, because I don't think most people, when you sit down to negotiate, you don't know how to negotiate, you don't really think about cultural differences in depth, and I think that people are becoming more aware of that, and hopefully we're going to see some more sensitivity towards negotiating in different cultures, etc.
So we need to do more preparation and more homework in the future.
I think people should hire me to teach more classes in international negotiation, and that would solve a lot of problems.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
for
much
your time.
Yeah, my pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.